Right, hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be making this beautiful shawl. I'm calling this a Winter Dragon Eyelet shawl. As you can see, it has a couple of different parts. So it has solid sections, and it also has bead sections with the eyelets and some nice detailing. For this I have used James C. Brett Marble Chunky. I needed two skeins of this, which is 100% acrylic, 200 grams per skein, which is approximately 312 metres of 341 yards. You can cool wash, it goes in the tumble dryer alright as long as it's not too hot. It's a chunky weight yarn. Normally for a number 6 crochet hook or number 6 needles, but I've done this particular example on a number 5. So it's in this gorgeous blue colour. It's a nice thick winter shawl. It works up quite large to this one, so I hope you all like. Let's get on with the video, shall we? Right guys, so with our yarn and our 5mm crochet hook, this is a chunky weight yarn I'm using, like I said in the beginning of the video. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then into the last chain, well the first chain, I'm going to put 4 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Chain 3, then turn your work, and we're going to put 1 double crochet in this first stitch here. So it's not the one underneath this chain, it's the next one. So 1 in there, chain 1, 2 in the next one, two in the next one, so it's the stitch before this chain 3 on the end. So that's 1 and 2, and then we're going to pop one in the top of this chain 3. And that's the end of round 2. So, like always, chain 3, turn your work, and then we are going to start with our increases now. So I always like to remember the increases as 2, 1, 2. So what that means is, in this first stitch, not this one underneath your chain, but your first one is going to be 2 in that stitch, then 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So I always like to remember my increases as 2, 1, 2, and then you just can't go wrong. So we have this one, then 2 in the same stitch, 1 and then 2, and then we're going to put 1 in the next stitch, and this is where our chain 1 is here. So chain 1, and then 1 in the top of this stitch, which is the one just before you chain 3 on the end. And then, no surprise, but we're going to put 1 in the top of this chain 3 on the end of our row. Straight onto the next row, chain 3, turn. Since this chain 3 is counting as our first stitch, we're going to go straight into here with a double crochet, chain 1, and then into your next stitch. Then 1 in your next, one in the next, and then this is where we do our increases again. we always do our increases at the beginning of the start of the same side. So again, we're going to do 2, 1, 2. So always make sure you have 4 stitches. So this is including this chain on the end. It's a good indicator. So something to look out for. So 2. 1, 2. And then 1 in the top of that chain free, in the top of that chain free. Right, moving on, chain free again. Turn your work, and then our increases again. So again, 2, 1, 2. So not underneath this chain free, but in the next. So here we go, 2, 1, 2. Just like so. So we have 2 here, 1 and then 2. And then what we're going to do is we are going to work across our row, placing 1 double crochet in each stitch until we hit our chain 1 space. So I'm just going to get a move on with these. So this is the stitch where our chain 1 is. I'm going to chain 1, move over this and directly into your next, and then again with 1 double crochet in the top of your chain free. So that was row 5. So I'm going to go straight onto row 6. So you're going to chain free, turn your work. Now we're not going to do a chain 1 on this. What we're going to do is we're going to put 1 double crochet in your first stitch, 1 double crochet through your space, and then carry on working across until you get to your last 4. This is your last 4 stitches, including your chain free, where you're then going to do your increase of 2, 1 and 2. So I'll just do these on camera with you. So with this, once you get the hang of it, you don't even have to count, apart from just double check how many stitches you have left at the end. So as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3 and 4, including my chain free on the end. So this is where I'll do my increases. So 2, 1, 2. And like always, don't forget to do 1 in your chain free. Right, so this is what I'm calling a solid section on this pattern. As you can see, we've only got this detailing on this side. This side is our increase row. If it does help you to remember where to increase, you can pop a stitch marker in this side, and then it might help you to keep track on where you are on your pattern. So what we're going to do on the next part of this video, we're going to start on our eyelet side, which is a little different but works similar. So I will see you there. Right, so on to the next section. This section is going to be our eyelet section. So these sections are always worked in the same way. It doesn't matter if it's a wide row or keep getting wider. It starts and finishes the exact same. So what we're going to do, chain free, turn your work, and we are going to do our increases of 2, 1, 2. So, like I've been saying in the video, it's 2 in the first, oops, a little split there, 1 in the next, and then 2 in the next. So that's our increases done. We are now going to chain 2, yarn over, miss 2, so we're going to skip this stitch, and work into the third stitch. So 1, 2, and go into that third one for a double crochet, then double crochet in the next stitch. And what this is going to do is this is creating our eyelets now. So then chain 2 again, yarn over, miss 2, go into the third one, and then go into the next one. And this is going to be the same on every round. So now this is how you know when you've gone far enough. This is for the same on every round. Your last 2 stitches, you need to be able to count 4 stitches afterwards. So this is 1, 2, 3, and our chain stitch on the end is 4. So this is the end of this row, because each row it gets bigger, but each section we have to work back 4. So automatically chain 3, turn, and then we are going to go into our first stitch. Then we're going to work around this here with 2 double crochet, then go into the next 2, into the top of the next 2 double crochet, then what we're going to do is same again what we've just done here, work 2 into this hole, and then we are going to go and carry on working our row until we have 4 left. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, so that means we do our increases again. So it's 2, 1, 2, so 2, 1, 2, and then like always 1 into the top chain of that chain 3. Oops, hope if I could get that stitched properly, bear with me. So yarn's fighting me today. So as you can see, this is the start of our eyelets. We've got 2 eyelets here. Right, onto the next row. In each section, it doesn't matter if it's an eyelet row, it doesn't matter if it's a solid section, it always has 6 rows. Always has 6 rows, so you can always tell whereabouts in your pattern you are. So the video's not too long, let's get going. So again, increases, 2, 1, 2. So it's 2 in your first, 1 in your next, 2 in your next. And this is how we're going to start off each row for our eyelet sections also. So 2, 1, 2, chain 2, miss 2 stitches down, miss 2 stitches down here and go into your third, and this starts you off for the entire row. 1 into your next, chain 2, miss 2, go into your third, go into the next one, chain 2, go into your last 2 stitches, which will be 1 stitch and then your chain 3 next to it. So as you can see on this round, we now have 3 eyelets started. So each round you're going to end up with 1 extra eyelet, and you can see that these downwards bits here always line up. So again, chain 3, turn, and then work 1 double crochet into the top of your next stitch, 2 into your space, because we have two chain stitches there, so we always do 2 double crochets to make sure we have enough enough count on the next round. Work into the top of your next 2 double crochets, two into your eyelet, two into the top here, 1 in each stitch, two into your eyelet again, and work across until you have 4 stitches. This is including your chain stitch on the end, so let's count 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then do your increases 2, 1, 2. If I keep repeating myself, it's just so it just drills in, and you always remember. By the end of this, by the end of making this shawl, that is going to be drilled in. You're going to be saying in your sleep. And then 1 into your chain 3 on the end, and then chain 3 and turn. So it's starting to get bigger, and you can see it's starting to have a nice curve and these lovely steps. So going to carry on. So 2, 1, 2 again. Just going to start working a little quicker because you can pause me. 2, 1. Wow, I'm really struggling with this yarn today. It's just split city. It's not normally like this. I'll just move my tension off a little bit. So that's my second increase there. So remember, on your eyelet rows, after your second increase, automatically chain 2. Because this is going to be the start of our eyelets now. Skip 2 and go into your 3rd. And then go into your 4th, chain 2, skip 2, go into your 3rd, go into your 4th. After a while of doing this pattern, you will get to a point where you don't even have to count, you can just dive straight in because all these line up, so it's really easy to see once you get a feel for it. So again, skip 2, go into that one, go into your 4th one, chain 2 again, and then you're going into your last 2, so you skip 2, so go into your last one and 1 in the top of that chain 3. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to go back again. Right, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so we have 5 rows here. So this next row is going to be incredibly easy. Chain 3. Turn. And we're just going to work back like we've been doing. So into your second stitch, 2 in your eyelet, 1 in the top of the next 2 stitches, 2 in your eyelet, 2 in the top of the next 2, well, 1 in each, you get the idea, or you should do by now, 2 in the eyelet, 1 each in the top of the next 2, 2 in the eyelet, and we should be getting back to nearly the end of this row, so I'll just stop and show. Again, finish your row exactly the same way you started, so count how many stitches you've got. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, so again 2, 1, 2 with your increase, so 2, 1 in the next, 2 in the next, which is the last official double crochet on this row, and then again, like always, 1 into the top of your chain 3, and that is the end of this eyelet section. So each section is always going to start off the same way. It's like I said earlier, it doesn't matter whether it's your solid section or your eyelet section. You're always going to start off with your increases of 2, 1, 2, and then the pattern starts. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do one more section with you, just so I can show you again on the spacings on these. So I will be back in a second. Right, moving on. We are now going to start off on start doing a solid section. So chain 3, turn your work, and do your increases of 2, 1 and 2. 2, 1, 2. It really is a simple pattern, but it's so effective and it's so lovely. You can make this in a lighter weight yarn if you choose. You know, it's one good thing about this pattern. It works with so many different yarns and hook sizes. So yeah, just if you don't want it chunky, if you want it would like it something for like summer, or you know, just something a little lighter. You could even use double knit. Yeah, it's one of those really simple patterns where you can just do what you feel. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to motor on up here. So I'm not doing a stitch count because I don't want to drive you all crazy with counting whilst you're trying to stitch yourself, and it drives me mad. So what I'm doing is I'm just working in each double crochet across until, I'll show you, because the start of this row has to be done, well, the end of this row has to be done a little bit different, so we end up with our small eyelets at the end. And there's a good, easy way to make sure you have enough. Right, so we always want to finish with two stitches. So what this means is, I'll bring this a little closer. So we always need 4 left when we finish. So like you see here, we've got 4. So what we want to do is count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're not going to work into these ones. So this is, this is the end, so to speak. But we still need our eyelet in there. So what I'm going to do is just take this one out. And from this point, I'm going to chain 1. Even though I don't get this right all the time. And then I'm just going to put 2 there. 1 in each stitch. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So the easy way that you know that you've got enough left is if you line up with these stitches here. As you can see, our last 2, and they always line up from the previous rows. And then you have your 4 here. So if you count back, so if you look at these 2 here, you look up, you have 1, and then the rest of your row. So in your last eyelet, you can go into the top, chain 1, and then into your 2. As long as you've got 4 stitches there, everything will be okay. So chain 3 and turn. I hope I'm explaining this this well enough so you understand. I'm trying to be thorough and trying to make things fairly, reasonably beginner friendly. So we're just going to work the same way. So 1 in there, and since this is a mini eyelet now, we're just going to chain 1, skip over and straight into the next, and 1 in the next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back to this side until I've got 4 stitches. Right, so I've got 4 stitches left, so I'm going to do my increase. Again, say it with me, 2, 1, 2. 2. Oh, I made a boo-boo there. I think. No, I haven't. I'm telling you lies. 2, 1, 2. And 1 in the top of your chain 3. Right, I'm going to stop this so you don't have to see me do an individual row of a shawl, because by the end of it, it would just drive you absolutely mad. And it would drive me mad because every row is literally the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another 4 rows until I get back to starting another one of these sections. And then I'll go through the first row and then cut you loose from there, because it's going to be the same throughout the shawl. The only difference is your rows are getting wider. So the start and finish is always the same. So after you've done about 3 sections, you'll go, oh, okay, that's how it works. It will click. So I will see you after I've done that. So see you in a minute. Right, so I'm just coming up to nearly the end of this solid section. I just wanted to add a good way to see where you are with this one is, sorry if it's can't really see, is if you count these smaller eyelets, which are on the end of your solid section, and you see 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're working towards the eyelets. Basically, this is your last row where you need to do the chain 1 to make that. So chain 1, because this is going to make number 5. So that means you've done 5 rows, funnily enough. 1 in the end, and I'll just show you. So if you can see, it's really difficult to see the yarn. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've just made the 5th one. So that means this is the last row on your solid section. So this is the row where you have to work into this into your small eyelet. So 1 into the next, work straight in like you do with your big eyelets and work down to the end of a row. So I'm going to do the rest of this row off camera because it's done the exact same way, and I will see you in a minute. Right, so I'm to the end of my solid section now, so I'm going to start you off on your next eyelet section. So chain 3 and turn. Just need to get some more yarn. And then start off with your increases, so 2, 1, 2 again. So 1, 2, and the next, 2 in the next, and chain 2. So again, it starts off in the exact same way each and every time. So chain 2, miss 2, go into this next one. I'll do this row with you actually, why not? Happy birthday. Chain 2, miss 2, and then go into the third, go into the fourth, chain 2, miss 2, go into the third, go into the fourth, chain 2, miss 2, go into the third. Speeding up so this video doesn't turn out to be like my last one, which was like an hour long video. So chain 2, miss 2, go into the third. It's just so I can reinforce where you need to stop when you're starting your first row of your eyelets, just so it works, so the pattern works out nice and even for you. So, chain 2, miss 2, go into the third. Right, as you can see, we've got 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is the chain on the end. Now, this is where on row 1 of your eyelet section, and each and every time, again, this is where you need to stop this row and start going back on yourself. So chain 3, turn your work, and just continue working in the exact same way, and that's all there is to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to get rid of this row. I'm even going to do I'm going to do this on camera because this is how I do my finishing edge. Wow, that was really in there. This is one thing I don't like, is to pull out this James C. Brett, because sometimes it does snag, which it has done. So I'll do this off camera. Right, so what I've done is I've just taken that last row out. Not because there's anything wrong with it, it's just when I make this shawl, I always like to finish on a solid row. So there's no point me making another couple of sections when this is all I need. So this is the last stitch, and this is the end of our increase row, where you're going to end up. So in the last stitch here, we're just going to put in some double crochets. So we're going to count them. So 1, 2, and this is all into the same 3, and 4. So so this is going to be make a total of 5, all in the same area. This is including the last one from your last previous round. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just put one right in between there. This is in this chain space, and another. It does look a bit crowded, but they do separate out, and it makes a really nice corner. It's not a sharp corner, it's just lovely. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 double crochets in the end of each row, looping round your chain 3. So in each of these gaps. So it just finishes this shawl off really nicely. Doesn't have to be fancy. This one really does lend itself to being a simple shawl. Not everything has to be lace and frills. So I appear to have run out of yarn. Bear with. I'm just going to tie this on roughly. Don't know what happened there. Okay, so if it can go wrong, it will do. And I've done about 30 takes of this video so far today, so if it's not up to my usual shenanigans in my videos, I do apologise. It's just trying to get things done. Ignore that giant messy knot there. But yeah, these things do happen to the best of us. Right, so again, all I'm doing is in each in the end of each row, I'm just putting 2 double crochets, just going straight round the last chain free. So, you don't have to count anything, you don't have to go into any stitch, you don't have to go through a stitch. It's just literally going straight through that big loopy space at the end of each row. So I'm just motoring on here so I can show you what I do at the very tip. So I'll just keep on talking. One thing I like about, I don't often use chunky yarn, but one thing I do like about this particular one is it works up fast in this pattern. Because if you think these eyelet rows, it's less stitches to doing them, so you can speed you along with it. Normally I can maybe crank out a full one of these in a day, half a day at a push. But no, it's just techie time with things, and take all the time you need to make things, really. As long as you enjoy it. Right, coming up to the end now. I'm still in camera, just. I have a habit of moving with my work. Right, nearly to this end. But 1, 2, 2. Right, and this is my very, very last gap here. So I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. All into that last, very, very last space. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slip stitch, pull my yarn through. Because this is where I would finish. Ignore the rustling in the background, I'm just heading for a yarn needle if I can find one. There we are. Thread the needle through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, if you see the end of here, this is our beginning. I'm just going to pop in a light stitch there and just draw it in a little bit, and then just go through a couple of others. You don't want to pull it tight because you don't want anything to seem bunched up. Or one good thing about this colour, you can't see where any of your stitches are, so you can just go through a few times, kind of hide it, and that is that. I would normally weave this one in, but I just can't be bothered on this video. So hopefully this is enough instructions to continue on and finishing off this gorgeous eyelet shawl. So I will see you back in a few days for another video because I have I'm working on a variation of this one at the moment, which I will also be posting. So like always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to share what you've made, I am on Instagram as Crochet Kyle, so tag me in your work, I'd love to see it, and until then, have a good day.